This is the installation video for White-Rodgers 21V51U-843 integrated furnace control, designed as a universal two-stage control. The 21V51U-843 provides the proper communication signals to the variable speed motors of 5 different furnace manufacturers. The kit includes materials needed to replace a hot surface ignition control on 2-stage furnaces with ECM or variable speed motors utilizing a 16-pin connector. The box includes an igniter bracket for Trane brand furnaces, 2 harnesses for Goodman brand furnaces, an adhesive diagnostic label, step-by-step instructions for easy installation, a harness application chart, a 21D 64-2 hot rod igniter, and a 50V51U-843 ignition control module. First, ensure power and gas are disconnected prior to servicing the unit. Remove the unit access panels. Check the part number on the existing control and verify it can be replaced with the 21V51U-843 using the cross-reference on the side of the carton or the White-Rodgers mobile app. Take a picture of the existing control for reference before disconnecting wires. Disconnect the thermostat wiring. Take note of what color wires are going to each terminal. Disconnect the 16-pin connector from the ECMV. Disconnect the 12-pin low-voltage Molex plug. Remove the 120-volt wire labeled EAC. Remove the blower circulator 120-volt power and neutral wires labeled CIRC. Remove the line-in 120-volt power and neutral wires labeled LINE. Remove the transformer 120-volt power and neutral wires labeled XFMR. Remove the 120-volt wire labeled HUM. Disconnect the 5-pin 120-volt inducer and igniter Molex plug. Finally, remove the board. Dip switches control various timings and configuration settings. Note that the switch locations on the old board may not be in the same locations as on the new board. Starting with the existing control, identify dip switches labeled S1. Refer to the wiring diagram located on the furnace to find existing settings. For this application, S1 is the heat-off delay settings. The existing control is set with both SW2 and SW3 in the on position, indicating a time delay of 100 seconds. Refer to the installation instruction sheet, option switch settings on page 4 for heat fan off delay settings. Dip switches S7 give the closest option to 100 seconds of 90 seconds or 120 seconds. For this application, we will use the 120 seconds setting and switch S7 number 4 to on. On the old control, for Amana and Goodman, Trane, Lennox, and Thermopride applications, match the existing dip switches labeled S3 and S4 on both the old and new controls. Take note the switches' locations may be reversed on the new board. On the new board, duplicate the switch settings for the motor functions on dip switches S3 and S4. Set dip switches S2 on the new control to match the equipment using the table in your instruction sheet. Only S2 switches 1 and 2 are used, and factory set to Trane, so no changes are necessary. Dip switches S7 number 1 and S7 number 2 are for configuring if a system has a single-stage or a 2-stage thermostat. If a single-stage thermostat is used, the control can be configured to turn on the second stage in 10 or 20 minutes after a heat call, or automatically based on the average cycle time. For this application, the dip switches are left in the off position from the factory for use with a multi-stage thermostat. When configuring a heat pump system, dip switch S5 number 1 is set to on from the factory for use with conventional non-heat pump systems. For heat pump systems, move the S5-1 dip switch to the off position. This will continuously output an O signal to the motor whenever there is a Y signal and run the circulator blower at a constant speed when the pump is operating. For this application, no change is needed. Dip switch S5 number 2 is a dehumidification option set to on from the factory for systems that do not have a dehumidification terminal connection from the thermostat. For systems using a thermostat that provides a dehumidification option, move dip switch S5 number 2 to off. The new board is now ready to be installed. Remove any existing standoff tabs. If the new board does not match the existing board's mounting system, the instruction manual has a mounting hole template for easy installation. For this application, the new board standoffs match the existing mounting plate. Reinstall the wiring. Connect the blower's circulator 120-volt power and neutral wires to the spades labeled CI-RC and neutral. Connect the line-in 120-volt power and neutral wires to the spades labeled L1 and neutral. Connect the transformer 120-volt power and neutral wires to the spades labeled XFMR and neutral. Connect the 120-volt wire to the EAC spade. Connect the 120-volt wire to the HUM spade. Plug in the 5-pin 120-volt inducer and igniter Molex connector. Plug in the 12-pin low-voltage Molex connector. Plug in the 16-pin connector from the ECM-V. Reconnect the thermostat wiring. For Goodman applications, use the supplied adapter harnesses. For applications with 80-volt igniters, a White-Rodgers 120-volt hot rod igniter is supplied. For train applications, an igniter bracket for correct igniter location placement is also supplied. The system is now ready to be tested. Reconnect electric power and gas to the unit and make sure the door switch is engaged. The 21V51U-843 has 2 LED indicator lights. DS1 is a multicolor LED for status and fault codes. Once the unit is powered up, the LED will flash green, indicating it is in the standby mode. Make a call for heat. The normal heat-on operation of heat is: control verifies pressure switches are open. Inducer starts on high speed. When the low pressure switch closes, a 15-second pre-purge begins. After 15 seconds, inducer switches to low speed and the 120-volt igniter is energized. After 17 seconds, the gas valve is energized. If heat is detected, a 45-second fan-on timer is initiated. High heat is initiated depending on dip switch S7 numbers 1 and 2 configurations. If any faults occur during the cycle, a flash code will indicate the fault. The control will store up to 5 fault codes occurring during the last 14 days. The control will flash the most recent error first and the oldest error last. To retrieve fault codes, push and release the last error button for less than 5 seconds. If there are no fault codes in the memory, the LED will flash 2 green flashes. To clear the fault codes, press the last error button for 5 to 10 seconds. DS2 is a green-only LED for blower CFM speed. While the blower is running, the LED will flash according to the furnace manufacturer code detail. Consult the wiring diagram label on the furnace to check. Finalize any work and terminate the call for heat. Place the included fault code adhesive label on the furnace. Reinstall the access panels. Service of HVAC equipment should only be performed by a licensed and properly trained technician. Failing to follow all applicable standards of operation and maintenance, including applicable codes and manuals, can result in potential hazards, including, but not limited to, electrocution and fire. The 21V51U-843 is available wherever White-Rodgers products are sold. Be sure to stock the 21V51U-843 for 2-stage hot surface ignition controls with a variable speed motor for quick and easy repairs. Thanks for watching this White-Rodgers installation video. For more information, go to copeland.com/21V51U-843.